Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am the Doom Cannon, and right now you're watching some level 31 Necromancer gameplay in the Blasted Moors in the Char territory. Right now I'm around the area, if you were ever in the Char territory, it's the area where all the ghosts and the trebuchets and cannons are. And it seems it's not a very friendly place to be. But there's a skill point here if you look at the mini-map, and it took me the longest time to figure out how to get it. It's in the beta weekend 1, I spent probably an hour in this area trying to figure out where the skill point was. I just couldn't find it. But during the stress test event, I finally figured out where it was. So it should be. If you couldn't find it, just probably show you where it is. I'm sure some people couldn't find it, or maybe I'm just not very smart, but which is a possibility. But yeah, so today, while you're watching this footage, I'd like to go over a few things that you've probably heard before. First thing I want to talk about is the Holy Trinity and the lack of it in Guild Wars 2. Now, you guys have already heard there's no Holy Trinity. It's pretty cool. Everybody can do everything, but I feel like there's a bit of a misconception here, where people think that the lack of a Holy Trinity means that everybody can do everything. Well, I feel like that's not really the case. What I think it means by the lack of a Holy Trinity is that there truly is no tank, healer, DPS at any point during the game. Now, from what I've seen, a lot of people are under the impression that the lack of a Holy Trinity just means that everybody can tank, heal, or DPS. Now, it's true, everybody can tank, heal, or DPS, but it's really more individualized than that. There's no real support of your teammates beyond adding boons or conditions to various friendlies or enemies. And it doesn't really come down to, oh, this Necro is going to tank while he's in Death Shroud, and so we can all sit back and try to heal him a little bit and buff him up while he's tanking. No, that's not the case. You're going to have people running in and out of combat quite regularly, and that the person absorbing the damage is, at least right now, the person closest to the enemies. It's not always the case. There's a couple other factors involved, but that's the biggest factor right now, at least as far as I know. And really what it is that each class can deal with things on its own, and you can do more damage and kill things more quickly in a group, but unless it's like a champion boss or like a dragon or something like that, then you need extra people. But otherwise, you could theoretically solo everything by yourself, and that's because you can absorb a lot of damage, or, well, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to dodge and evade the damage, and dish out damage yourself while you're doing that, and support yourself by applying boons to yourself and applying conditions to foes. And that's really very different than the Holy Trinity. Holy Trinity, like in World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 1, you had a tank who aggroed everything, pulled it all together into a ball, and then you had healers supporting the tank so that the tank didn't die, and then you had spikers who would go in and kill the nice little ball of enemies. Some people could, in Guild Wars 1, you could do this actually by yourself, usually as a assassin, ranger, or elementalist, and you could be the tank and the DPS at the same time and take care of huge mobs by yourself, depending on where you were. But usually it came down to, you had a tank, you had a healer or two, and you had a bunch of people who just did spike damage and would kill things. That just doesn't exist. The groups, the mobs in Guild Wars 2 just don't ball up like that. Their AI won't allow it, and so basically everybody's taking damage, or at least trying to avoid the damage. whereas in the traditional Holy Trinity system, the tank's going to be taking all the damage. Even if that tank is going to switch off, it's still a tank. There's still a healer. There's still DPS, even if you're switching roles in the middle of it. It's still the Holy Trinity. Guild Wars 2 is completely straight away from that, where you can support each other, but you can't really heal anyone, and you can't really tank. So it's really like every class is a DPS and a support. There's no tank, no healer, like I've said. And I think that's really good. I did really like playing tank and healer even in Guild Wars 1. That was my sort of thing. I really liked having people rely on me, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun just to run around and kill things on your own. And it was pretty difficult. Yeah, so that's my take on the Holy Trinity and the lack of it in Guild Wars 2, and my attempt to explain it in a different way than it's traditionally been explained. So, next thing I want to talk about is the skill system. Now you'll notice that the first 5 skills on your skill bar, like everybody said before, they are preset for you depending on your weapon, and they unlock as you use the weapon more, you get kills with that weapon. So basically, once you get experience from a kill while using a weapon, your experience with the weapon will go up, and another skill will unlock eventually until you get all 5 skills unlocked. And there are various two-handed weapons that have 5 skills associated with them. Primary hand weapons will have 3 skills associated with them, and offhand weapons will have 2 skills associated with them. So essentially you can, it's basically a preset, but you know, you might think, hey, that's kind of boring. You can't really play around with the build. Well, you can. It's just relegated to really the utility skills. I don't really count the heal skill as a choosable skill, even it technically is, but it's just a heal skill. But yeah, so your 3 utility skills and your ultimate are, or elite skill, sorry, are going to be what really decide how you play. Now I played around in World versus World and PvP. I used this skill called Spectral Walk, and I'd say it's a really powerful skill. You get a movement speed boost, and for a few seconds, and go some way, kite someone, and then when it ends, you get teleported back to where you used the skill, and so you'll end up in a completely different place, and the person trying to chase and kill you will completely lose you. So it's really powerful in PvP. So there's a bunch of different ways to play. Like I play as a kiter. I don't really like to take damage. Necros do actually have the highest base damage of all the classes, or health, or one of the highest base damages of all the professions. Sorry, I keep saying damage. It's health. And so, but at the same time, I just have this thing where I don't like taking damage. Guild Wars 1, I really like seeing zeros pop up as in 0 red numbers pop up as I'm tanking a mob or something like that. It just kind of feels good, just not see a bunch of numbers, red numbers coming off of your character. And so that's usually what I try to do. So I kite things, and Guild Wars 2 really allows you to kite really well, especially as a necromancer. I'm not so sure about other classes. I didn't play them as extensively, but as a necro, your kiting ability is phenomenal. And so you can apply all sorts of conditions to your foes while staying away from them, and basically just whittle them down bit by bit until they die. And it's quite useful. I really like it. I don't really like sort of jumping in the middle of things anymore, like in Guild Wars 1, like I did. I also really like in Guild Wars 2 how, you know, even though it may not look like it at first, there really is skill choice, and you can really customize your build with those 3 utility skills and your elite skill, and then you can augment it with your weapon skills. I know the Scepter has this, the number 3 skill for the Scepter deals extra damage for conditions on your foes. So if you have utility skills that boost the number of conditions on your foe or boost their durations, you can deal a ton more damage. And I didn't actually figure this out until much later in the event, but I actually really like the scepter as my damage weapon of choice, just because it's got the range that the axe does. But since I usually like to put conditions on my enemy instead of dealing raw damage, it fits my playstyle perfectly. So, like for the longest time, I was just running around with the axe and the warhorn. It's just what I did. But eventually, I started using the scepter and warhorn, and then the scepter and dagger actually, which was really fun to do. And also the scepter and focus, actually pretty good. Yeah, it's just I'd like to just point out that there really is a ton of skill choice here. You can really tailor how you play based on the skills that you choose, and it'll take a while. There's a bunch of skills to choose from for those 3 utility skills and your elite skill. So there's a bunch of combinations out there, and you're really gonna have to try them all, and before you can really settle on one. I still haven't settled on one. I don't have enough skill points to be able to do that yet. But it's definitely something to do, and something I look forward to doing when the game comes out. It's just kind of messing around finding a fun combination. So yeah, that's about everything I have to say. Guess is in the video. There's how to get down to the skill point. It's a well. There's a little hole in the ground right there, and you go down here into a cavern. And oh hey, here's the skill point. So yeah, that's how you get here. So in case you were wondering, you jump down the well, and you end up down here. And I actually almost died. Good thing I was lucky. A couple people jumped down after me. I think they were looking for the skill point too. And when they saw me just jump into this hole, they were like, "Oh, where'd he go? He must have gone into something." So I was fortunate enough that people followed me down here. Otherwise, I would have gotten destroyed quite quickly. But yeah. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe. Really help me out. I've still got probably 10 more videos to do, so you can look forward to all that. And also, if you're interested, I could upload just the raw footage of my gameplay during the stress test event, and so you could complete with sound. It's good quality, 720p, and the sound quality is really good. So if you're interested, I could do that. It's just gonna take a while because I have to compile that whole video. So that'll be a while from now. But if you're interested, let me know in the comments section, and I'll make sure to do that if you guys want it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Come back for more. I'll get some more videos up soon. Thanks.